Leigh Whannell, so great to have you on Sunrise.
Good to be here.
Congratulations on this
Thank you.
film. You wrote it, you directed it, you produced it. Bit of an overachiever.
Yeah, well, I wasn't in high school, so I'm not sure how that happened.
That's often the way, by the way. Sometimes you have something to prove, you know?
Right.
And school's not for everyone. But
Yeah.
you've had such enormous success in the horror and thriller and many other genres as well. Obviously, one of the original creators of the Saw franchise, just a billion-dollar franchise, no big deal there. What is it about growing up in Melbourne that lends itself to such a...
Melbourne's such a horrific place. I don't know. I don't know if it's anything specific to Melbourne.
But your family, what was it that kind of, you obviously have this incredible imagination, in particular when it comes to like thrillers and horror. Was there anything in your childhood that kind of inspired that within you?
I don't know. It just sort of happened. I mean, my dad worked in television. He worked at the ABC for many years. So the Iron Curtain was kind of pulled back on television. It was demystified a little bit. Growing up, seeing cameras and seeing a studio, and you know, by the time I was 6 years old, I'd already seen TV being made, and so there was that. And then my grandfather, I remember, was a great storyteller. He was, he was really into James Bond and Sherlock Holmes, and he had these obsessions. So I think the combo of those two people maybe kind of dripped through. But I definitely remember from an early age just being utterly fascinated with stories.
Wonderful. I mean, this is so good. And I don't like to be scared, but it is worth being scared in this film. It is so brilliantly done. And I was watching, I know it's set in San Francisco, but I was watching it and I was like, that's Hemisphere.
Yeah, that's right. The restaurant, yeah.
You couldn't tell because you did it so well, but you shot this in Sydney.
Yeah, it was all shot in Sydney. We did a little bit of aerial photography in San Francisco, but yeah, 95% Sydney. What
are some of the, I guess, the good aspects, but also some of the challenges of shooting a film in Sydney that's meant to be set in San Fran?
Oh, man. I can feel the migraine coming back already from pre-production. Here's the thing. On the surface, Australia and the US are very similar. So you kind of go into it thinking, not a problem. But once you start to get down to the details, they are very different. I mean, we build houses with different materials. Our street signs are different. And, having lived in the US for 15 years now, so it's 15 years this year,
wow.
I really know those details. Like, I was the authority on the set of like, nope. Those recycling bins should not look like that.
Yes.
And it's really a lot harder than you think. You think it's going to be easy, but it's really not. And so I just had to police the details, and we were really picky about the houses we chose and where we shot. And
there's one house which was apparently the Australian House of the Year, which is Adrian's lair.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. What
was
it like shooting in like this kind of multi-million-dollar modern mansion on the water?
It was nerve-wracking because we weren't allowed to damage anything, obviously. We had strict rules. And if you've ever seen a film crew unpack or pack up their gear, it's like a herd of elephants running towards a Black Friday sale. They are a destructive force. I was waiting for a light stand to go through one of the walls, and we all had to wear these special shoes, and understandably so. The owner was very nervous about a film crew being there, and
it's so good.
It was hard, but the results are on film. I'm so glad we took the time to shoot there because I feel like the house is a character in the film.
Yeah. So beautiful. Now, this is a new generation, the first of its kind of a universal kind of monster movie. Tell us about that.
Well, it's great to be like the first cab off the rank, as they say, in terms of the kind of Universal Monsters 2.0. Yeah. I think when it was first pitched to me, there was nothing. It wasn't attached to anything else. No one ever said, so you need to make sure that you have a cameo from Frankenstein in there. There was no pressure to make a film that was part of a larger universe. I was really free to make a standalone film. And that's what I did. And that's what I wanted to do. I kind of made that clear. Like, let's just make one good standalone film and not worry about, sequels or universes or whatever.
It's so great. And I heard that you said that, the idea of the Invisible Man, it is kind of a beloved kind of monster in terms of people's psyche, but we haven't seen it before on screen in a way that feels current and relevant, and you did that in such a fresh way. But how challenging is it to do that when your lead actor, so to speak, the monster, is not there?
Well, what happened is the first thing I did when I sat down to write it is I had my notepad and my pen. I always start off handwriting. I never get on the laptop, too much pressure.
Yeah.
So I sit there and I was thinking, okay, and I remember writing down a question. So what makes the Invisible Man scary? And I realized you know, the fact that you can never see him. Sure, he doesn't have any visual iconography, fangs, or he's not a monster in the traditional sense of the word, but I realized that him not being there meant that I could make the film really tense, because you would always be wondering, is he in the frame? Is he in, you know, we could be watching a scene with Elizabeth Moss and I knew the audience would be thinking, is he standing right behind her? So that was really the thing that made me excited to make this film, was just playing with the audience's expectations of where is he or isn't he?
That's true, because the imagination's more scary than any fang or blood-sucking creature, right?
Always. You know, there's that disappointment, you know, if you hide the monster from the audience, eventually when you show it, there's that moment of like, oh, is that all? You know, there's nothing that special effects makeup or CGI can do that can fill in the audience's imagination. And this character of the Invisible Man is the perfect one to play with the audience's imagination, because that reveal never happens.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So good.
Thank you.